Video coverage of M2M Evolution Conference and Expo is brought to you by Content Boost, the content marketing specialists. Amplify your sales today.
All right, there we go. Hello, everyone, and I'm excited to kick off the battle of the platforms this evening. Afternoon, morning, I don't even know what it is. I keep switching time zones so often. So thank you for our hosts for having that, and the three people who raised their hand as buyers in the room, I'd get security to get you out of here with everyone around you. I mean, the ratio seems a little interesting. Anyway, my name is Chad Jones. I am Vice President Product Strategy with a company called Xively. Xively's been around actually under a couple other names. How many of you are familiar with Patch Bay? Looks like Pachubi. Some of you seen that? Then we relaunched as Cosm, actually, as we were acquired by LogMeIn. And we just relaunched with a corporate focus, a business enterprise focus last May with our name Xively. Today, I want to take you through a little bit of what our thinking is that we see in the market, and then how we took a platform and purpose-built that to meet the needs of the Internet of Things. So the first thing is that we all know this Internet of Things thing is going to be rather large. You know, if you believe upwards around Cisco, $14.4 trillion, that's going to end up being around the gross domestic product of the U.S. economy, right? So hyperbole aside, if it's just 5-10% of that, I think we're talking about one of the largest technology markets ever. Anywhere from 20 to 60 billion objects coming online by 2020, something like that. But I'm going to say it: the Internet of Things is irrelevant. Thank you. Good night. South Beach is awesome. Let's get there. Yeah. Okay. Now, before everyone starts throwing produce at me or something like that, because we're all here for the Internet of Things, what I really mean is that simply connecting things on the internet is not enough, right? You can do that today. It's not enough to actually say, I'm going to internet connect a water cooler. I'm going to internet connect a tractor. I'm going to internet connect fill in the blank out there, because that is not what the Internet of Things is really about. And this includes the Internet of Everything, the industrial internet, whatever your marketing term du jour is for this, right? It is really about transforming businesses and lives by using this approach. It is nothing short of taking our businesses and bringing us to an entirely new level where we are so intimate with our customers that we can truly service, sell, and anticipate their needs as they need them. So if we think about it in that way, then what really is different about the IoT from M to M? So I break it down into kind of four main things. I'm sure there's more, but really the first is the power to the people through the revolution of the cheap, right? And what I mean by that is if you go down to the local Radio Shack, I can pick up an Arduino for less than 20 bucks. If I start doing manufacturing on those things, I can get down to a couple dollars and actually connect those things to the internet and have data come out of them. Now in the past, M2M has been very expensive, but now I can open that up to a far broader range of solutions. Lighting the place on fire. Beyond that, you have decoupled and layered hardware and services. So now I can pick and choose what solution I want to create from all sorts of different components. I can also switch those things in and out. I can then evolve into an interactive business cooperative where I understand what my customer is doing. And then I can actually automate my business motions based upon that information and bidirectionally change that target environment based on what I know. And then the future is really about interconnecting all of these things together. So it's not just a point-in-time solution that I have that I'm solving a specific problem. It's that I have a specific solution, I have another one, and then I connect them together to get an exponential response that's greater than the sum of their parts. So some additional observations that we saw, and then we'll get into our platform, is that, first of all, everything that isn't connected, whether it's old or it's new, will be, period. Anything in this room can be connected. This table can be connected. Some things that are pumps that are 20 years old with the platforms that are out there can become connected and have a whole new set of usefulness inside of their life cycle. And really everything is eligible for connection, not just devices. We tend to think of things in the Internet of Things as I have a really cool little platform with some sensors and I can connect it to a mobile platform. But what I'm here to say is that's not the case. It's just the next expansion of the internet through a whole new series of platforms that is additive, not a new thing, but additive. So anything that is in our world between the servers that we already have, if I want those two things to communicate, you know what? Platforms on the Internet of Things should allow those things to communicate, just under an entirely different rule set. If I want to tie in my smartphones, tie in that new set of devices, tie in my existing tablets, my existing PCs, all of those things need to come together in a neural fashion to create something that is a true solution. We just don't throw it all away and start over. It is truly additive. The best innovation leverages other innovation. We just walk the halls here and you see so many innovative products. But when you start bringing those together, if you have a clean way to do that, then you really get an exponential effect. And what we found is that customers still don't fully understand what to do or how to get there. They either have a tremendous amount of technical knowledge in the space, but not a lot of go-to-market or business model understanding of what they want to do. They just want to internet connect something. And then you have the reverse problem, where you have people that really understand the go-to-market and what they want to do from an experience standpoint, but it's a multi-dimensional, multi-discipline technology set that's required to build these things. So there are some self-service out there, but they tend to be very small customers. So helping these people along the way is imperative. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I like to call this kind of pivot friendly, if you will, because there are so many first steps that people are making now that if you take them in a direction that locks you into that direction, then as you learn, it's very difficult and costly to actually pivot to something that you know is better. So being able to ensure that those pivots aren't costly is really important. And then business motion integration is the key to business transformation. You have so many different business processes that are out there today that still have a manual component to them. A human must review this information. A human must look at some sort of incoming sets of screens or applications and make a decision into the business motion engine. Something like Salesforce.com with Sales Cloud, with Service Cloud, with Marketing Cloud. All of these things have business motion inside of them that a human now is kicking off. Well, being able to take that and start to cross a bridge so that I now have an evolved business motion is really the key to transformation. So if we think about that transformation in a little bit broader terms, the first thing is that connected everything will be the norm. If we get to that point, even if we just connect just a fraction of something out there, then business omniscience will begin to occur. I'll begin to know everything about my business from a data perspective. Tying that into my business motion will now gain greater outcomes. And then eventually I'll be able to interconnect that future, those solutions together to get a better response. The end result is really that I can understand, service, and anticipate my customers' needs. Now, where Xively comes into play is we're a part of LogMeIn. Right? How many of you have used LogMeIn, Remote Access Rescue? Right? Great. So LogMeIn was originally built on something called Gravity. Gravity is our own cloud. We have 7 data centers around the world, our own brick and mortar. We touch down right to the metal over the last 12 years. We actually get about 1.5 million SSL connections per 1 pizza box in our gateways. So again, we're optimized down to that level. But in the internet wave, we actually connected PCs, because that's really what it was about. We did that through any number of products. But as the mobile wave came in, really, clouds became prevalent. We all have multiple devices. It's about connecting people together with their data. But now that we have this platform, again, all our products are built on top of it, with the Internet of Things wave, Xively is very uniquely positioned to just take that next step. Again, it's about connecting everything together, and LogMeIn has a rich history of being able to do that, and Xively is the next extrapolation of that into the Internet of Things. So what is Xively? Xively is comprised of 3 different components, and it's an offering of enterprise-grade solutions that make the Internet of Things real for business today. Right? Now, we're talking about some technologies and all those things, but from a Xively perspective, and I think from an industry perspective, technology is great and all, but it's so 2013. Now is the time to actually say, okay, what are the use cases? Who is using it? and how. Right? We'll show you some of those as well. But our platform is purpose-built to make sure that all of the solutions get you to that end goal as quickly as possible. So with the platform, again, we're built on the power of the LogMe and Gravity platform. And specifically with Xively, we offer you a secured message bus that actually allows a pub-sub replication through MQTT. It defines your objects through a directory called the object directory. Now I can group those objects together in those communication paths so that I can have a solution that interconnects more easily. We have data services such as a time series database, triggers, those types of things. So as data flows through the system, 99.8% of it is not going to really do anything. But that 0.2% that's either inside of a constraint or outside of a constraint can actually put out a service ticket to, say, Salesforce and kick off business motion, those types of things. And then our business services include provisioning, secured provisioning, deprovisioning. And then we have an API that's an open standards API with libraries that connect literally thousands of platforms out there so that you can choose what is best to make up your solution. We do have applications such as our Workbench as well that allows you to see the communication through the secured channels and troubleshoot that very, very simply. But the key here is that with the open source approach from the library side, you can take this, modify it for your own needs. And you know what, if you're using an Arduino-based solution to kick off your devices, great, but all of a sudden that doesn't work and I want to go over to an ARM-based solution, no problem. We can tie those things all together, they'll intercommunicate because we abstract away all of those complexities inside of there. So a little bit deeper look inside of our offerings. I'll let you read the first 6, but the last 2 are very interesting and unique to LogMeIn. Well, they're all pretty unique, but from LogMeIn. On the connection side, we have IP that we can apply to the Internet of Things. So the first thing is in our remote access technology, we have a reverse proxy from a computer that talks to a cloud like everybody else. You authenticate against that cloud and they find each other. But what's unique is when we start that communication, we have a trick we do through UDP that drops that connection together into a managed peer-to-peer relationship. So now the communication is no longer relayed through the cloud. They're talking back and forth to each other. Right? So that takes you to a whole new level of scalability, and I don't have to constantly hop through the cloud if I want to talk to this speaker or if I want to talk to this light switch. We also offer something through our Hamachi technology, which is a managed VPN solution. We have a demonstration of this with Raspberry Pi and a mobile phone. So I can actually control a mobile phone, secure that communication path on the local network between myself and just that device. So therefore, I enhance the security over that local communication path, and again, I'm not relaying over the cloud. So there's some pretty big ramifications for that. Our 7 data centers around the world. Right now we connect over 255 million devices, 55 million users, and 1 million customers. But we have been optimized for connecting devices for years now. We're just bringing on an additional type of device inside of these micronized platforms. Beyond that, this is worldwide Xively devices, just gives you a bit of a look around the world. You'll notice that we have orange dots in the middle of the ocean. Those are between ships and oil derricks and buoys, things like that. So we have a very pervasive set of information that's coming through the system, but we are multi-tenant, but it is private. By default, this data, you must select to share it. It is private by default. So it is up to you, share it with the world or don't. Beyond that, we actually are building for the interconnected future. Today, and one of the problems with M2M is that you're building solutions in silos. If I want those things to connect with each other, even if they are with the same company, it can be difficult. I've got to be able to share API, share security, write all these things together and put into an application. However, with our object directory and our grouping capabilities, being able to take 2 different devices and being able to have the security information and share them with the same application allows you to communicate with both. So there's one company that makes a baby jumper that is detecting for SIDS. Now if the baby goes into a SIDS condition, it's going to ring your phone. You know what, if my kid's going to a SIDS condition, don't ring my phone. Turn on every fire alarm in my house, right? This is a big deal. But if the fire alarm company and the baby jumper company want to come together, it ends up being that's a business development conversation. Is that 3 minutes or 0? 0. Okay. 30 seconds. Anyway, that's a difficult communication to have. I got to write API, do security, all that. In our system, you simply tie them together in a group. Yes, the app has to do a little bit of work just to understand what it is, but now if that baby has an issue, it'll set off every single fire alarm in my house. We offer consulting services that take you down the entire chain as well, so that we can actually take you down that path and augment what you don't know. And then our ecosystem is very broad. ThingWorks is one of our partners. They just got acquired by PTC. Congratulations, by the way. Acquisitions are awesome. But we're actually working with them as a partner to be their infrastructure. So there's a lot of flexibility we have inside of here to, again, be the best of breed solution. And again, building that business omniscience. You look between the triangle of Xively, Heroku, and Salesforce, for example. Salesforce has the business motion on the back end. We're able to tie into that and run services through Service Cloud, tie into Sales Cloud when something activates and update the sales record. Market that to someone as well, so that if I have a situation where I'm selling something out of a reagent refrigerator, we have this in a connected lab example. Scientists use the reagents. We know what they're using. We know how much they're using, but guess what? We also know that if they're using a certain line of these reagents, they're probably going to go to the next step of the experiment. Let's market to them actively. They don't think they're being marketed to. They're like, wow, you just anticipate my needs. So that is an awesome experience that now elevates and delights the customers, but also gives the business a huge set of advantages. So last slide. The difference with Xively is, first of all, starting on the right, LogMe and Gravity and our technology really sets us apart because we've been here for 11 years. The Hamachi technology we're talking about is now being applied to IoT. Our open philosophy allows you to tie in exactly what you need and then substitute it out very easily. We're pivot friendly. If I'm walking down one path and I learn something, I can switch directions. We allow that to happen easily. Our strategic ecosystem feeds into that. We're a solution and a platform. So we're not just going to say, here's your platform, good luck. We're here to say, if you need help end to end, we can do that. If you only need help in the ideation stage, we can do that. Because the most difficult thing in the creative process is the white piece of paper. So we can help you understand those types of things. And then our applications on top of this system will continue to add value over time. Because you have to develop a device lifecycle management system. You have to worry about stream processing. You have to worry about analytics. All of those things we'll handle for you. So with that, thank you very much.
Video coverage of M2M Evolution Conference and Expo is brought to you by Content Boost, the content marketing specialists. Amplify your sales today.